Hey, welcome to another episode of Daily B. This is episode 3, and my name is Burhan. And on this series, on this channel, I talk about marketing, I talk about digital marketing, I talk about how to influence people, how to optimize your business, how to optimize your life, and how to convert more people into customers. But today, I don't really want to talk about money or things of that nature. I want to talk about the things that keep you up at night. Right? The reason why you can't sleep, the reason why you're so worried about forgetting things, right? Or maybe you find yourself in a situation where your team forgets to do things, or maybe there's steps in your process and like people are missing things, right? And I want to show you, I want to talk about a process leading on from yesterday's video. So if you didn't watch yesterday's video, go check out episode 2 of the Daily B, where I talk about the processes that we want or would like to have in our system, in our life, in our business, to just make things easier. And I want to expand on that a little bit more, because I think it's one of those situations where if you have the systems in place in your business, it'll benefit not only you, but your clients as well, right? You deliver a good service, people are doing things on time, they're doing things efficiently, they're doing things according to standard, then things are better. Your customers are happier, you get more referrals, you get more testimonials, your business grows. That's what all of this is about. And personally, it's like I mentioned that maybe you're not sleeping at night. Maybe you're not, having a good rest, or maybe your brain is always active. There's always things that you worry about. There's always things that you need to think about or take care of, right? And I want to show you, I want to talk about a way that I've managed that process over time. If you like this topic, if you like what you hear so far, hit the like. And if you want to follow along with these videos, definitely subscribe to the channel, because I'll be talking more about these things. But let's get into the main benefit. The main benefit is to keep you free, to keep your mind free, to give yourself space in your mind mentally to get things done, to just live a little bit more of an intentional life, live a little bit more freely, and to just enjoy the time that you have, right? Of course, we want to manage our team, we want to communicate well, we want to get things done, we want to keep things on track, we want to keep our customers happy. And it's one of those things that's kind of like a dream, right? You hear people always talking about or complaining about the fact that they don't have much time, or they're always constantly worrying about getting things done, or missing deadlines, or complaining about people missing deadlines. So a little bit of a backstory of why I can talk about this stuff. When I was at KPMG working as a IT audit manager, if you don't know the story, that was basically my first professional job that I got hired at KPMG. And over the years, I worked there for about three and a half years. Over the years, they made me like the knowledge leader, or they gave me a name, the knowledge person. Like I was in charge of the archive of all of the resources and all of the tools and all of the sort of elements that kept everybody going, right? I was the person that people came to ask me, like, how do you get this thing done? Or, hey, where do I find this thing? Or, hey, do you know a resource or something to try to solve this problem? And it was a lot of like admin related things, like how to use things in Word, or how to do things in a spreadsheet, or where are these files? Like I knew where all the archives were, even though I was there for a very short time, or I was in a managerial role for a very short time. I was the go-to person, and so they made me like the knowledge worker or the knowledge leader in the department, and to such an extent where they nominated me to become a project management person, like there's this company called there's this certification called the Project Management Certification with the PMI, Project Management Institute. They paid for the course, they paid for the books, and I was supposed to take the exam, but life got in the way. I went through a divorce, and I ended up leaving KPMG for a different opportunity. I went to a bank thereafter. But the project management thing has always been with me. It's always been a thing that I've been proud of. Organizing myself and just keeping myself sort of organized is something that I'm very proud of. if you come to my home, you'll see that I'm fairly minimal. I mean, I have a few things, very essential things that I use every day, but my house is neat. Things are in order. I never lose things. I haven't lost anything in the last, like, I don't know, 15 years or something. I keep things in its place. And I tend not to forget things. Like if there's things that are important to do, I tend not to forget them. So I want to give you some of those resources. I want to talk a little bit about that. When I started freelancing on Upwork, my first client on Upwork, when I was getting paid $11 an hour, this is 2014, 2015, he used Asana. And that was the first time that I came across the software that was basically a project management, like a project manager's dream. Okay, back then it didn't have all the fancy tools and fancy widgets and fancy like rules and things that it has now. I wouldn't say Asana is fancy in any way. It still has that core element of using a list and then allocating resources and getting people, setting dates. It still has those foundational project management principles. But my first client used Asana. And I was fascinated because when I got to the company, he wasn't using Asana. And then by conversation, he asked me, like, hey, do you know about this tool? I said, no. He said, okay, here's the login detail. Figure out how it works. I ended up showing him how it works, and I ended up migrating all of the things into Asana and showing him how to use it within a very short space of time. I tried using Trello. I tried using Monday. I tried using ClickUp. I have a Notion account, a paid Notion account as well. And I always went back to Asana. I used Asana for my personal things as well, for my personal projects. When I had other clients on Upwork and also other clients doing other projects, I always used Asana, and I encourage many clients to start using Asana as well, because that was the tool I was using, and it helped me to keep organized, and many of them had also adopted it and started using it. Now, I mentioned that things go missing sometimes, and team members maybe forget how to do things. These are some of the problems that come up in a team, and maybe you have a process that needs to happen, and there's a step-by-step way. There's a methodology. There's certain things that just need to be done. For me, for websites that I build for my clients on Shopify or WordPress or Webflow or whatever, there's certain things that you just need from the client. There's certain things that have to be done to execute on that project. We all know this, and having the steps in a document or in a project tool like Asana helps you keep on track, helps you remember all of the things that you need to do, and then also it just gives you that level of comfort that you know what you're doing. You know that you're following a repeatable system. Now, the other thing is like file management. We have files on our hard drives, we have photos on our phone and videos on our phone, we have all of these resources, and using Asana or using some sort of a tool can help you centralize all of that, can help you, share your resources in an easier way. Asana also helps me not only from a communication point of view, but also from a instructions point of view. Because if you have a set process and you have all the steps that need to be defined, and those steps are in action, written in an action language where it's like, go get this file, or change this, or update X, like the start of the task should be a verb, then people tend to understand, and they tend to manage to focus. They're able to focus that. And, the idea of using a system, just going back to what I said yesterday, is to make your life easier. Because, you may think, oh, like, I need to set up Asana, and I need to write down all these tasks, and I need to set up the projects, and I need to set up But I promise you, once you've got all of that set up, and once you've got all of it, or at least not all of it, at least if you have a foundation of something there, then you can start to build on it. And every day, if you're using it, you tend to move away from email. You tend to move away from just random notes that you're taking on multiple apps on your phone. And if you're adding your team in there, either as guests or even as paid members inside of your Asana account, you can allocate those things to them, right? So if you know what your flow, or you know what the pieces you need done are, and there are multiple people that need to work on those things, you allocate the resources. Hey, can you go and get this done? Can you go and get that done? They have a deadline. You set it up in a way that it makes it easy. Now you don't have to constantly remember the things that you need to follow up on, and even those people, your team members, don't have to worry about how these things, like, oh, remember what I need to do. Now, I'm not saying you need to move away from paper or you need to move away from your phone or whatever. I still use notes. I still use Google Keep on my phone. I still have Notion. I still use a paper sort of note thing. You'll see there's like a little checkbox and a list of goodies that need to get done, and I scratch those off and I highlight to prioritize. That's like the simplified version of my Asana. But Asana is where all the bigger things are happening. And I've got my team in there, and people are doing their thing. And they're giving me feedback in there, they're commenting. And so most of the time I don't have to look at my email because all the comments are inside of my inbox in Asana. Email is basically communication from the outside world. Everything that's internal happens internally. I don't encourage people to send me emails. Even my clients, I would prefer them to message me in Asana, and we work through the project, or we work through the plan over there. Now, here's how, if you think like, oh, I don't know how to get started with this, I don't know how to actually get going, here's what I think you should do, right? On a document or in Asana or even just on a spreadsheet, doesn't matter what you use, make a list of all the things that you need to do. Doesn't matter what the order is, doesn't matter any of that, just brain dump all of the steps, all of the things that you need to remember. Oh, you need to do laundry. Oh, you need to book somebody to come and clean the house. Or you need to pick up XYZ on this date, like somebody's arriving at the airport. Like whatever those things are, right? You need to submit a proposal by X amount of by this date to qualify for a certain thing. Or you need to transfer money between one account to the other account because of some deadline, or you need to make a payment. Like whatever it is that you need to do, just make a list. All of the things that you need to remember, or that you are keeping in your mind. 15 minutes, give yourself a deadline, just make that list. Then look at that list and say, okay, can they be in projects? Like, are there certain things that you can group together by theme or by activity and put them into projects? If it's a website thing and you need to get a logo and you need put that into a project. Like maybe use highlighters if it's a piece of paper, or categorize them. Just split your spreadsheet up and organize it so that it's project-based. Then you have a sub-list of things per project. Now you can start working on them in terms of priority. What needs to get done either in steps, so step 1, step 2, step 3, or in order of importance. And you can define what important is based on your own matrix or metrics, or you can use the Eisenhower matrix. You can Google that and figure out what that is. Sorry, I'm being weird on the microphone. Or you can use what Dan Martell talks about in his drip matrix, right? So you can Google that. He's got a video on YouTube. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. The drip matrix by Dan Martell. And he gives you a structure of how to actually move through, prioritize things and how to set things up. Now, obviously, now Dan Martell talks about hiring and outsourcing work. That's kind of the book that he wrote was Buy Back Your Time. So that's where that comes from. But it applies to prioritizing your tasks as well, right? So now you have your steps per project of what needs to be done, or if you have your steps, you have the tasks in priority order. Now you say, okay, who needs to do what? Is there a resource that you can outsource this to? Do you need to find somebody to do that? Do you have somebody on your team? Or is it something that you need to do yourself? And if it's something that you don't need to do and you don't have the person, then go find somebody to do that. It doesn't have to be somebody who's expensive or highly qualified, or obviously if it's a complex job, then maybe, figure that out. But at least you'll have your list now, you have your projects, you have your tasks, and you have people that need to execute on that. So on this channel, I'm going to be talking more about sort of these things to optimize your life, to optimize your business, to increase your revenue, to increase your space. And I'm going to drop this sort of term. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and I was explaining to him this whole process of like organizing and project managing and making a list and all the progress I've made so far. And I said to him that I'm free because I'm able to make choices. And this is not original. This is something that I saw on for somebody on TikTok talking about. And I think it's so true that if you have the ability to make a choice, even if it's I have this specific thing that I need to do, but hey, I'm going to make a decision that somebody else is going to do that thing, then that's a choice, and that creates freedom because now you can decide. But if you have everything in your head and you're just stuck and you're just wallowing over those things, you're not making a decision. And so that's the whole idea, is to use these tools, use these pieces of paper that we have, these pens that we have, use our mind to free up space, to be able to give us freedom to make choices. Because if you make good choices, then your life becomes good. And when you make and you make good choices, then everything just sort of happens the way that you want to. You become successful. Your team is happier for you for it. You're more organized. You can sleep better. Your clients are much happier. Your work is probably improved in quality. And you just live a more free, more relaxed life. So that's the message of this video. If you liked it, hit the like. If you want to subscribe, go hit the subscribe button. And good luck with everything. I'll put the link to Dan's book and to Dan's video about the prioritization and the drip matrix down below. Catch me on the next one. I'll see you soon.